well. If you could give us a 1 minute overview of your campaign, please.
Good evening everyone, I'm Rob Jennings, running for Activities Officer. In my experience at university, I've been on JCR, I've worked in the Carnival Exec, I've worked in the Society Exec for 2 years, I was recently elected NUS delegate. So I'd like to think that I hopefully have the experience to make a real change within the union. In terms of my campaign itself, it's all about helping students make their mark while they're at university. I'm aware that's just a slogan, so what does that mean? It means that the SU offers a equal service to all students at all campuses, an equal service but not the same, because things that work in Uni Park won't necessarily work across all the different campuses, so it's tailoring it and making it as effective as possible.
Hi everyone, I'm Harry Turnbull, I'm running for Activities, as you probably know. I'd like to thank the SB Guild for inviting me here, and also thank you for repping the Turnbull for Activities colours. I've been at this university for 4 years, and I've been part of societies for those 4 years, and also on the committee of society for 3 years. So I've been boots on the ground, front line, working with students, trying to help them do what they want to do and have a great time while they do it. And that's what my campaign is all about, bringing the power to the students and bringing the power to societies to let them do exactly what it is that they're all about.
Hello, I'm Yaps, running for Activities. A driving feature of my manifesto is sort of geared towards really raising the profile of our union across all our campuses. Let's try and have more of a spotlight on society activity here at SB, at University Park, all geared towards trying to get more and more people involved with our societies. Let's try and get people based on University Park involved with societies here and vice versa. I think in general, the more promotion of how societies are, what they do all around our union.
Okay, let's kick this off. Who's got a question? One down here, Jess. Jess, there.
Sorry, thank you. One of the biggest problems we faced is with the handover period. What kind of things would you look to change to make the handover more beneficial to a new exec coming in, so they're fully prepared for the challenges of being on an exec committee?
That's an excellent question. One of my manifesto points is to renovate the SU website, especially the committee area. If you've tried to go and look around there, it's just a mire of confusing links. There are over 130 pages, 30 of which don't actually have any content, which is bizarre. So the content itself is really helpful. There are things that you need as a society to know, but the way that it's organised is dreadful. So what I'd be doing is renovating that and also producing a handbook with all of that information, so you can have it all in one place and you can print it out and give it to a newly affiliated society committee, and they will have all the information there that they need to know to be able to function efficiently, so they can start worrying about what makes them as a society who they are and organising that, rather than struggling to work out the basics of the Treasury, President's meetings, event forms. The stuff you have to fill in is crazy. Like, you need to apply to be able to give crisps for free to your student members in the society, and there's a form for that, but you can't find it on the SU website because it's hidden away somewhere. Anyway, so I want to change all that.
Yeah, I think you're right. From speaking to a lot of societies, the issue of handovers is often the most raised. I think I agree with Harry. I think some sort of handbook to be publicised, building on what's available online, would be a very good idea. I think, like Harry said as well, there is information online, but it's not enough. It's difficult to find. There needs to be more standardisation of this handover, sort of making it also relevant to the societies. I mean, possibly if societies sort of work this year, next year, to publish some material and have it available for future society committees coming in, that could be really useful.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something I've got experience firsthand in. If I look at what I've done, I was the events coordinator for Carnival, and essentially the two guys who did before me left me with the task of running a bar crawl for 7,000 people with zero handover. So we really had to work out to do that from the ground up. In an ideal world, every kind of committee would leave in place a sufficient handover that's kind of tailored to each SRS or society that really identifies the things that you need help with. Unfortunately, that's not the case by and large. It happens in some cases, but not in all. I'd suggest a number of ways for tackling that. Firstly, as a member of the Society's Exec, I currently feel like it's a really underutilised position. So what I'd like to do is really incorporate into the roles a greater onus on using your experience and helping other societies and SRSs in their handover process. So you're actually there as a go-to person, perhaps running sessions in an area you have expertise in. So I'd be looking to perhaps help a society or SRS in the handover when it comes to running events. Secondly, it's been mentioned, it's in my manifesto, looking at things like creating a generic handover document. I still plan on doing that, but with a generic handover document, it's giving the same piece of information to different societies. While that's kind of enough to get you off the ground, it's not going to do anything really specific to you. Where I feel like the support needs to come in is in the training itself, making sure you have people either who've been in your society previously, have experience or know what they're doing to help you not just do the basics, because everyone can learn how to do an event board, but actually learn how to run a successful society, whether it's gaining more members, whether it's running good events or whatever. And finally, you could look at something like points-based rewards, the STAR system, and actually say, look, if you want to be earning points like this, one of the criteria we're making is to be adding to a handover as you're going along. So it's not a case of, I'm finished in a week or so, I'll hand over to the next person. Actually, it's a more progressive system where a handover is being made as it's happening.
Okay, thank you for that. A question I've got here is, the Student Union loves bureaucracy. Do you think this puts people off putting on events, or do you think it puts people off actually using the forms that are in place?
In terms of events and bureaucracy, I met with the president of VetSoc who mentioned an example of the kind of lends itself to this. He was talking about a welcome event that he tried to run. He submitted the event form before summer to Jules in the hopes that she would come back to him with some constructive feedback on how the event could go ahead. Unfortunately, there was no reply, and the event didn't end up happening because it was just a no when term resumed. Basically, introducing things, the bureaucratic layer is necessary. The union needs to know what's going on, it has a responsibility because it is liable at the end of the day. But making it a bit clearer through training, but also making it a bit rewarding. So if you're taking the time to fill out a form to try and make an event happen, having things like compulsory feedback by a deadline, but also a system whereby an answer is never just no. It's a constructive response. It's no, but here is how it could happen, with a mentality to wanting to make events happen and not just rooting out the stuff that they feel would be potentially dangerous or unviable.
Okay, yeah, next.
Yeah, I think when you're putting on events, there's always going to be bureaucracy, always forms to fill in. I mean, I've realised I've been working with Hughes JCR trying to put on an event in their common room, and there's been endless forms to fill in, seems of endless paperwork to fill in, and it's going to happen all the time. But I think what we can do is try and reduce that, perhaps repeat event forms. Like I said, I think that'd be one way we could do it. I think really it's about trying to get the paperwork relevant to the event. Not these general forms or general risk assessment forms. Try and get it relevant to the event. Sort of more communication between the JCRs and the SU trying to sort that out.
The question was about bureaucracy. Sorry, I've forgotten. I was saying that a bit there.
The SU loves bureaucracy.
The SU loves bureaucracy.
Do you think it puts people off putting events on, or do you think it puts people off actually using it?
Cool. I think, we're trying to run events for my own society, Improv Society, has been a big part of what I've been doing for the past 3 years. And only this year did we realise that we had to submit event forms for the things that we were doing. So I don't know if that makes all the previous events like illegal by the SU standards or like underground. I don't know. But when we first found out, we thought, what is this? And then we realised that actually the SU's not trying to put up barriers to you putting up on your events and stuff. It's just Mainly just so they know what's going on. Because if you've got 34,000 students all running around doing things, there's a lot to keep track of, and the events process and the form system is a tool for the SU to just keep tabs on what students are doing, not to stop you doing the things you want to do. I doubt that you could fill in an event form that the SU would have a major issue with, unless, I don't know, you're planning on releasing a lion onto campus or something. But yeah, the bureaucracy, you know, being part of a committee, it is part of your job. And sometimes you just got to knuckle down and deal with it.
Thank you. Next question, please. Oh, we've got 3. We'll go to URN first, please. URN, the people at the back with the radio.
So Matt's asked us that Carney is a topic which divides opinion among students. Are there any issues which you would personally raise with the operations and culture of Carney, and how would you resolve these if you have any?
I've been thinking about this a lot recently, actually. Carnival is, I think, fundamentally, a lot of the people in Carnival have their hearts in the right place. It's an amazing fundraising group. They've raised, I don't know, millions over the years, I guess. I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but part of the way they go about it, not all of the way they go about it, but just part of it, I think is not the best way. And I think you know the kinds of things that I'm talking about, like the rag raids, and some people that I've talked to have not had good experiences. Some have, although when you're dealing with this many people, you know, each hall, there are hundreds of students. There are hundreds of students that go on rag raids, and there's multiple in a year. So eventually, someone's not going to have a great time. And just general difficulties that these students will have. Hang on, that's not what I'm trying to say here, is it? Yeah, what I'm trying to say here, I'm just going to be blunt. Carney does have part of its culture as getting smashed and very drunk after making a good amount of money for people, which is great. But I don't like getting smashed and drunk. I don't think it's a very constructive thing to do. So there you have it, really. And I just want to deal with that in an appropriate manner by trying to get them to tone that down.
Yeah, so I've not been involved with Carney myself, but I can go off what I've seen and what I've heard other people talk about. One issue that cropped up speaking to some of our smaller charity societies was that they felt that as a charity society themselves, looking at Carney, which is of course a huge organisation raising millions of pounds, that the people involved with it perhaps weren't doing it for the right reasons. I mean, for example, people in these types of charities are doing it because they really care about humanitarian causes or raising money for specific causes. But I mean, whilst we can't deny that Carney is an awful lot of good, raising a lot of money, I think the issue is making sure people who are involved are there for the right reason.
Now someone who's on a difference.
Yeah, so you know, obviously I've worked with Carney for the past 2 years as a rep and on exec, and I think Carney as an SRS, some of the problems that people flag, they like to focus it on Carnival, and really the things that they raise are not the things that are unique to Carnival. They happen in a lot of student groups. They've happened or were raised in week 1 this year in sports societies, so it's not a problem that is just Carnival. And what is easy to forget is, you know, the output. Carnival has been raising this money for years and years, and it's become an expectation. People take it for granted. Oh yeah, Carney raised 1.76 million again. That doesn't just happen. I can tell you quite honestly that blood, sweat and tears for the last year of my life went into making that total. It's not money that's just plucked out of thin air. There are 126 reps in every hall on campus who are putting in serious hours to do work that, quite frankly, alongside a degree at university is phenomenal. And for any of you guys who are there at Snowflake Ball or have heard about any of the work we do, to say that students get involved with it for the wrong reasons, perhaps, but I can guarantee you that they leave it for the right reasons, and that all the work they do is coming from a good place.
Okay, next question.
Not to be forgotten here on Sutton Bonington, how would you support our guild activities officer here?
Can you repeat it, please?
How would you support the guild activities officer?
Yeah, so I had a nice chat with Tom a few weeks ago, and I mean, what I realised is a lot of great societies here. I mean, he mentioned that he tried to do a showcasing event for what goes on here, and it was quite poorly attended. That's a shame, and what I think the issue is down to promotion. I think there needs to be more promotion of what goes on society activity here at SB. I mean, let's get more screens around the barn, in places showing what's going on, promoting not only what's here, which is important, but also major events over in Nottingham University Park, because people here shouldn't feel like they can't go to these big events, so they should feel like they can do. I think the issue really is down to promotion. I mean, not just emails being sent out, more like physical materials around campus, promotional materials, posted everywhere. Let's try and get societies really in the spotlight. I think that's really important.
How do I support the activities officer on the guild over here? To be honest, it's quite simple, letting them do their job, making sure I, as an activities officer, based kind of at Union Park, representing the union, I'm listening to what they're saying. I haven't studied at SB, I don't know the ins and outs of the problems of societies here, but in theory, because this person, Tom Storr, was elected to the position, he does. So really, listening to what he's saying, contact, being over as much as possible, and really being supportive in whatever they're trying to do, listening to what they're doing, and making sure if there's anything on mine that I can be doing that they're asking of me, that I'm as present and as visible as possible. I mentioned it earlier, it's about offering everyone the same equal quality of experience and service from the Students' Union, but not the same, because every group is different.
This space is awesome. This room is great, and it's such a shame that we haven't got a bunch of societies and stuff, and students and talent groups over from other communities over on UB and Jubilee campus and Lingbo, whatever. Bring them over. We can get all these people in, but why isn't that happening? It's just there's very little awareness. I don't know how many people know that they can very easily get the hopper over here to do an event. It's not hard to get back and forth, but I think there are boundaries in people's minds to say, getting to SB is a bit of a bugger, so let's not bother. I want to break down those barriers and allow students from all communities to really intermingle and to show each other what they love doing, and getting that just multi-campus community all jamming together. I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, one final question, please. As the hand went up fastest, we'll go over to Amy in the corner.
As the president of the Music Society here, I know that a lot of the members aren't able to get involved in some of the opportunities over at UP purely because of when rehearsals are and when their lectures finish. So I'd like to ask how you would encourage societies to improve inclusivity.
How do I encourage societies to promote inclusivity? I think it's one of my manifesto points. It's bringing societies to you and actually looking at the training. So in the training, making societies and committees aware that, hey, there's a load of students over at SB that would love to get involved. If you were to just move a session, or if you were just to run something at a different time in the evening when they can. It's something that is very easy to make happen. It's just the awareness that actually if you're running a training session or an event at a certain time, there will be people that can't make it if you're doing it during lectures. So including that in training, making people aware of the time commitments of other students is something that I feel would really address the issue.
Yeah, getting societies to, reshift what they've been doing, as a routine for a long time, years, could be quite difficult. But I really want to work to make them realise that there definitely is value in doing it by showing them what a brilliant bunch of students the SP lot really are, and then they say, hey, we can definitely do stuff with these guys. Because, I think, I don't want to stereotype all University Park people, but, you think, SB, it's a place, rather than it's a vibrant community. So I really want to switch that point of view, that opinion, and say, there are a bunch of people over there, rather than there are some buildings and a few fields, So I think once students over here and over University Park and other campuses realise that there is just a wealth of untapped human interest in doing things like music, like performance, then they'll really start to work together to do events that benefit both sides.
Yeah, so looking on from what Harry said, I do think a lot of the issues you mentioned around inclusion do stem from awareness. And let's try and make people over here more aware of when these things are happening over in University Park, and vice versa. People know that this rehearsal happening at this time well in advance, it's been promoted well. They'll know that. I mean, the distance is the problem. If they can't make it due to a distance, a hop buses, that's a separate issue. But I think really we need to focus more on the promotion of what's going on here.
Okay, thank you. Let's crack on.